Come on in and drop your name and your business name in the chat while we wait for some more people to join. We'll start around 9:03. We're just early. It's better to be early than late. If you're not first, you're last. Information. For those joining, hello, I'm Sarah Gerardo. Can you please drop your name, your business name, and your role in the chat for us so that we can get to know you? And if you can put your cameras on, that would be great because I like to see faces. So that way, if we're at Pantheon and we see each other, I would know who to say hi to. Hello, Dayla. Good to see you again. All right. Oh, Miss Christina, hello. Hello, Gary. All right, we're going to get started. So just a couple minutes. Thank you for putting your cameras on. That helps us see your face. It just helps me. I'm visual. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. All right. Irrigation. Oh, Mike, I would like to talk to you because I'd like to learn more about irrigation. Okay, I will find you. All right, so let's go ahead and just get started with introductions to make this easy. I'm Sarah Gerardo, your marketer in the trades. Your marketer in the trades. I am the senior marketing operations manager here at Marketing Pro, and I help out with a plethora of things. Today, we're going to be talking to Alex and Ara, and I will let them introduce themselves because they are brilliant and they have a long list of things that they do. So I'm going to mute myself, and what this really is a chance for you all to ask questions about email and SMS. And Alex and Ara are the ones that are the product managers that have developed this. So ask your questions away, and we're here to help. Mute I go. Alex and Ara, your turn.
Alex, you wanna start? Or...
Sure. Hey everyone, I'm Alex Atarian. I'm the group product manager for email and SMS and direct mail. So I'm basically responsible for overseeing those three products under the Marketing Pro umbrella, and I'm here to answer all your questions. So bring up everything you want to know about and how we can help you to be more successful. Take it away, Ara.
Hey everybody, to add on, my name is Ara. I work on the Marketing Pro products under Alex, specifically, again, the SMS, email, and direct mail portion. So if there's any questions, comments, concerns, we're all ears. That's why we're here. Please, if there's any feedback or any questions, we appreciate the honesty and are looking forward to hearing everything you guys have to say.
Who wants to go first? Because we know you have questions. You're like, how do I use the audience builder? There you go, Pam.
You know, I always have
Bring
things
it.
to say. Okay, this is a question I've been thinking about for a while, and I'm too scared to ask, but now I'm going to ask it. I want to know if you have an automated campaign running, can a customer go back to the top of the funnel for the campaign? So for example, let's say we have an open estimates campaign running, customer gets an estimate and they get all the drips in the campaign. And then let's say 6 months later, that same customer, they have the tech come out, they do maintenance, they get another estimate, but they've already received the first 3 from the first time they got an estimate. Will they go back to the top of the funnel of the campaign, or because they've already completed the campaign, will they not receive the follow-ups the second time around?
Alex, you want to pick it up, or?
They theoretically should, depending how you set up the criteria for the original entrance. If the customer falls within that criteria, like if you did a dynamic date range, for example, you have your choices of dynamic and static. So if it's static and the static was picked during a specific date range, then they will not fall into that if the new estimate is actually outside of that static date range. But if you pick the date range that says maybe they received an estimate in the last 2 weeks or in the last 4 weeks, and the first time they got it was 6 months ago, they finished the entire drip campaign. And then 6 months later, let's say they got another estimate, they have an open estimates, which is sitting there for maybe for a week or 2 weeks, and it matches the criteria of the audience. So they will fall back into the audience and start receiving the drip campaign again.
So that's good to know. What if similar scenario, but it's only say 2 weeks apart, so within the range of the funnel, right? So if you've got like 3 emails across 30 days and technician goes out, they give an estimate and they say, no, like or they do an HVAC estimate and then they come out and they do a plumbing estimate the week later, your campaign does both. Will they get double emails, or does Marketing Pro's audience builder only recognize, like, sorry if my question's so complicated.
That's a good
I'm just curious
question.
if people are getting like double emails, and I'm trying to figure out, if they're getting duplicate emails, like one right after another, or like another. Okay.
If I remember correctly, the audience builder builds a unique set of email addresses and populates the proper tables with unique sets. So it should remove the duplicates. I would have to check if the most recent one actually takes over, but it's possible that it just continues. Do you know if it continues the old one or picks up the new one?
Do you mind bouncing back the case again?
So
can make sure.
basically, yeah, it's a bit tricky one. You're a homeowner, someone came out and gave an estimate, and then we start, because the estimate is open, you haven't accepted yet, they go into the drip campaign, and let's say the technician goes back and changes the estimate, maybe gives a new estimate. So now you have, Pam, do you end up with 2 open estimates at that time?
Yeah, so what happens, like a better case for this might be if you have HVAC and plumbing in the same company. And so you have an HVAC estimate and a plumbing estimate, but just one campaign for all open estimates.
Yeah, so theoretically, the second open estimate would trigger the customer to fall back in again. But if I remember correctly, when we talk to engineers, but this might be just regular campaign related, we always pull the unique set of the recipients. So I don't know if it gets deduplicated or if the second open estimate takes over.
Do you mind if I just bounce the case back to you? So you set up one campaign that handles all of your open estimates. Your customer may have originally had, say, a plumbing estimate maybe a week ago, and they received first email maybe out of 4 for that one. You send out another technician to their home before the first drip campaign has been completed, before they meet the stop trigger criteria. You leave another estimate at that point, and your question is, 1, will that second campaign include them? And 2, will they be included in the first campaign if they are included in the second campaign? The answer is yes. What'll happen is when the first campaign is set up, once they meet the criteria for that campaign, that campaign is going to continue to send every single drip in its step until the stop trigger is met. If they call into that number, and if there's a job booked for example. At that point, the stop trigger will be met and they'll no longer be included in the campaign. If there is no trigger on the campaign, it'll go all the way through. Now, the second that you create the new estimate, our audience builder refreshes every night. The following day, it'll be picked up by the audience builder for the second campaign. And then at that point, the user will start receiving the drip will start receiving the drip. Does that make sense?
The very first one, again, like it basically restarts them.
Yes.
Okay. I guess my feature request would be that we're somehow able to delineate that for companies that operate multiple business units. Specifically, the issue is the opportunity link, like go here to view your estimates. If they have two different estimates for HVAC and plumbing, it's difficult for the customer to tell. And then I don't want to set up two separate campaigns because then we're like hitting them with, two emails at the same time. I would love for there to be some way where I know which opportunity link is going to the customer and what kind of emails they're getting. This is a kind of common but more complicated issue that I'm running into with like whether or not people fall back into the top of the funnel. Another similar case study to the first one that I provided would be like a welcome new member campaign, and whether, if somebody renews their membership, if they pop back like to the beginning of the campaign or not. Right now, I keep separate campaigns for that, but just something to think about. If we say membership starts on this day, and they do the entire membership campaign, and then they renew for another 12 months, like, do they go back and start? And I think the answer is yes, based on what I've been told so far. But in that case, I might need to think through my campaigns a little bit. And
yeah, so I'll have to look into this if we currently support it. Ideally, you would have new member campaigns that guides them through the drip campaigns to introduce them to your company, business, and everything else and services. For the returning ones, you want to have a completely different campaign set that welcomes them back and thanks them for like their support and everything else, right? So they need to be
for sure
separate campaigns. I'll have to look into the case where we can maybe either through exclusions or somehow build two separate. You do want to have two separate campaigns though, like a new welcome and a welcome back.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's more about the welcome back campaign because I'm able to do the audience like exclusions, like, send this welcome new member email if their start date is whatever, and then exclude it if they have a membership that expired within the last, however long, right? So it's easy to do the welcome new member. It's more about whether the welcome back email like keeps getting cycled through every time that they renew.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that case, how we can build an audience. I'll get back to you on that one. That's
sure.
And then you might want to be careful with membership right now because the prices are going to need to increase, right? So what you had as your welcome might need to be adjusted for the content, right? Gas prices are going up, like everything is going up. Membership needs to increase with the companies that you work with and along with their prices. So be careful of saying that this is going to keep going for 6 months to a year when they could be inside actually adjusting their prices. So double check with those.
Totally.
Pam works with an agency. It's really important for her to know what's going on inside. And so just an FYI.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a process to audit all automated campaigns on an annual basis so that doesn't happen. So my last kind of feature request item is going to be perpetual memberships and how to target those people because they don't have a membership end date. It's like that field is empty. Would love to be able to put together a membership newsletter for those folks. And it's kind of like, they just keep going until suddenly they stop. So it's a little bit tougher to put together campaigns for active members that are just perpetually members. But that's just something on my mind that I've been thinking about. It's hard. It's also difficult to exclude members with no end date, so like I would love to have a little toggle. I mean, right now what I do is just exclude the membership type, but even that is a little, doesn't always work the way I want to. So just some thoughts.
Is that a common use case where people have memberships?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, almost all of our clients here at Powerhouse are transitioning their memberships to
Okay.
perpetual only.
So how does that work? Do they just get auto charged or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Cool. Okay, with that, I'm going to go off camera and I'll let somebody else talk.
You're fine. Okay, so what other questions do we have? Remember, this is about SMS and email. So we'll talk about direct mail next week. Jessica, Christina. Christina, you always have questions. Like, we work through audiences every day.
Yeah, I have nothing off the top of my head today,
What
surprisingly.
kind of fun campaigns do you have running right now?
Well, I
Patrick's
just
Day?
cleaned ours up yesterday. So we've got, let me see. So I just started a filter outreach because we have a filter shop on our website. So that's a new one for us. Basically just going out to recent customers who just had service done on either not quite air conditioner yet, but we're getting close. So once we get to that season, it'll go to them or HVAC maintenance in general. Just telling them, hey, if you need filters, you can go on our website. It's pretty simple, but I mean, it's something to go out and try to direct people to our filter shop.
So are you creating a subscription service with your filters? Is basically what you
Yeah.
want to? Yeah.
Yeah, so they can do a one order or they can set up automatic delivery and they save even more money. It's cheaper for them to buy from this website than it is for them to come to our office and buy them. So it works
Yeah.
great for us. But yeah, I have the normal ones, I guess, the time to schedule maintenance with recurring services, the memberships like Pam was talking about, welcoming new customers, thanking people for their recent installs. We've been throwing out some tune-up specials lately just because it's a little bit slow right now. We're in Wisconsin, so we have that lovely period of time where is it winter, is it spring? I don't really know what's going on. Like it's nice out for our standards, but that also means that it's a little slow on the heating side. So we're throwing out some tune-up specials just to try to get some people who we haven't seen in at least a year, but sometime within the last 3 years, and just trying to drum up some stuff. But my God, we're close to AC season. We're so close.
Yeah. Yeah. March is always the fun one, right? You're like sitting there, you're like, I've got to redo marketing again.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, we have no calls. What do I do? So I
Yeah.
totally understand. Totally understand what's going on. Christina, what? You're on twice, Christina.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that pop up when I bet it's because I shared the link. Somebody posted in the Facebook group looking for a link and I shared mine.
Hey, my name is Larry and I am quite new to Marketing Pro. I've been at it for about 2 weeks now. And I do have a question regarding my new customer campaign. And that question is the send until option when I'm creating the campaign. I don't know exactly what all of those options mean. Right now I have it as call created and then stop sending emails when customer exits the audience criteria. Obviously, I only want to send that email one time. Do I have that set up to only go out one time? Does that make sense?
Larry, can you give the details of your audience again? Sorry.
Say again.
Can you give the details of the audience that you set up?
Sure. Let me pull that up. Audience, I'm including residential and created on less than 1 day in the past. And then I'm excluding commercial. I'm excluding residential complete. Excluding last job date between 1 and 2 days in the past. And I am excluding residential canceled.
So you have a bunch of exclusions and your inclusion is only, was it residential? And what was the second one?
Less than 1 day in the past.
And this is, what's the filter for the audience? This is a job or?
Filter for the audience. I'm not quite sure of that question.
like which one of the criteria did you select? Was it a job, invoice, or?
For the include,
Yeah.
I did not select anything for that. I just have a residential and created on less than 1 day in the past.
And what kind of email are you sending to those? What's
This
the,
is the new customer campaign.
okay, so basically anyone who was created in the past,
Mhm.
you're targeting those. And then do you just have one email in the automation or multiple?
One email.
Okay. And then you're excluding, did you say you were excluding residential as well in your exclusions? Did I hear that?
I am excluding customer type residential job status completed. And then also customer type residential job status canceled.
And you're doing that in one membership group, right? Not multiple ones, so it doesn't.
Well, on my exclusions, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups.
Because that might actually exclude. Although if you have the job status, that actually should be okay. It'll only exclude the ones that apply to the job status.
So it seems like it's pulling the way it should be. I would much rather have it go out 2 hours after a job is booked, but apparently I can only set that up to go out at a certain time of the day.
Yeah, you don't have the first campaign that you, or the first email that goes out usually goes out when you set up the time for it. There is the second one, the second email you could then tell to go out a few days later and with a new time, but we don't currently have a way of basing the email trigger to go out based on when the job was actually completed. So the scheduling point is always the time that you specify when you create the campaign.
Okay.
For now.
Okay.
And
So
yeah, go ahead.
I didn't want to take up too much of the audience's time, so I think probably my inclusions and exclusions might be okay, but I guess the one question I do want answered is the option when I'm setting up the campaign where it says send until. I have selected call created, and then I checked stop sending emails when customer exits audience criteria. Does that mean, with that selection, does that mean that one customer will only receive one of these emails? Like, you know, a new customer will only receive one email. They're not going to be receiving like multiple emails of the same new customer email.
You mean when they re-enter the audience criteria?
Well, when the first email goes out to the new customer, I want to make sure that they don't get another new customer email.
So
Because they didn't take the action. That's what he's saying. He wants, like, say they didn't call to book or whatever the trigger was, right? But it's a new customer email. So if they opened it, then that would be the trigger that I would select. Open rates are a little bit different because you can't really tell who opened and whatever. That's another story. But if it's a new member, I'm going to throw them onto a drip series of thank you for, this is my brand. And then I'm going to go and say, okay, thank you for your recent service. If they left an estimate, I'm going to put them on an estimate one. If they didn't leave an estimate, I'm going to throw them on a referral one, right? Like they have multiple journeys in this. So if they just had new member, I wouldn't want them to receive that email again. That blue box would be checked. And, you know, like they wouldn't be able to fall onto that one. They would then go on to another campaign. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So yeah, Larry, that checkbox that you check with the audience box, because there is a case where they actually get the email, but they don't call in, right?
Right.
So
and we're not asking them really to
yeah,
call
exactly.
in.
So there's different ways you can
No.
actually do the stop criteria, but the second stop criteria is actually the audience builder, removing them from the audience. So what would happen is you know how you mentioned that you have the date filter? You say the customer was created 1 day ago, right?
Mhm.
So they would naturally, once the first email goes out, they would not naturally fall out of that audience because the date filter doesn't apply anymore, because they're now not 1 day ago, they're like multiple days ago, right?
Okay.
And that will remove them. This is good that you have that in place. That will remove them from the audience criteria, and they will fall out of the audience, and they will get removed from the drip campaign. They will never get back into the drip campaign because the filter logic doesn't apply to them anymore, because they were not created a day ago anymore. They were created, let's say, 10 days ago. The time has
makes
passed.
Perfect sense.
Yeah.
Perfect sense. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, and it's good you have that actually in place. That's a good kind of like filter protection to set up, so you don't.
And
don't
I
end up-
also set up a refer a friend after service that goes out two weeks after service of $499 or more is completed. And then I have an unsold estimate follow-up drip that I created, and that's a series of 5 emails, first 3 every 2 days, and then 1 4 days, and then the last one waits a week. So that's how I have my stuff set up right now.
Okay.
And with that, I'll just leave it with you.
And then make sure you have some kind of filters in there in place with dates and things, so they don't get repeated over and over again.
Yeah, like
Okay.
marketing behaviors, like those might be
Yeah.
something you want to add in as well. The other thing I really want to talk about that for new customers coming on is the opt-in, opt-out messages in your settings. If you have
Yes.
opt-in on in your settings, so go look at it. Go ahead and turn it on.
I don't have that checked.
Okay. If anyone has this on, go ahead and turn it off. You will not be able to do new member series if this is on, because it's basically just opting everyone, like they're cleaning your list and it's a mess. Just turn it off. So
Yeah,
that's just my one tip for Friday for you. It's my Friday tip. You're welcome.
Understood. And for the onboarding meeting number 1, that was the first thing they mentioned was because I initially had it turned on, and they said, let's just go ahead and turn that off. So
Yeah,
that's what we did.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you all. Appreciate it.
And if you need to re-opt people back in, because if you think about it, you have this suppression list, right? That you might not have talked to in a long time, and they might have an outdated email address. It depends on what it is that happened in the journey. Like they could be bounced, they could be whatever. You can reactivate these emails and see if they are still valid. So there are templates in there that says opt in, and you can utilize those and then create that list and see if you can undormant those emails. Is it best practice? I mean, cleaning your email list is best practice to do every 6 months and then re-import it back in. It's something that I would just take into account and consideration. Cleaning your list is really important.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Who has SMS reoccurring services going on? You do. How's it going, Jessica? Good. Okay. Christina, do you have SMS going on? Jamie? I haven't seen Jamie in forever.
No, we do not, because you can't eliminate commercial customers from it.
Same here.
Okay. Alex and Ara.
Yeah, I think we have that on our roadmap, Jamie. That's one of the requests we've gotten since beta from a few clients.
Yeah, I did see that, so I didn't submit it, but yes, we would use it if we could exclude our commercial accounts.
Okay.
Now,
That
is
makes
the
sense.
audience builder coming to SMS?
Mm,
We will slowly start exposing more and more relevant recurring services filters into the recurring services audience builder, things like customer, things within the customer record specifically. Also, outside of that, we're looking at some other filters that users have requested as well, like business unit separation, which currently isn't there right now, and is causing some difficulty for users who are running multiple businesses or operations within their account. But yes, it is on the roadmap and we are working to get it included. Don't have an exact date at the moment, but relatively soon.
Awesome. Is there anything fancy you guys want to show us that is coming along the way with email or SMS that you could demo for us, or walk us through a really complicated audience? I don't know. Something fun. There's lots of templates coming. Price increase templates are coming, just so you guys know about that. I'm doing one for membership, I'm doing one for equipment, and I'm doing one for service that has a bottom layer that has equipment prices going up. So like I said before, if your prices have not increased, they should be increasing at this point. They increased about 9 times last year. We understand. We want to be there to help you with the content as much as possible. We know that conversation is a little bit difficult to have with the customers. All right. Do you have anything cool to show us?
We have quick start campaigns which we can run through and demo and give like a sneak peek of. I just want to make sure that everybody kind of got their questions and concerns out of the way before we move on.
I have one that I keep trying to build and can't figure out. I would like to, the day before our replacement specialist goes out to a customer site, I would like them to get an email with the replacement specialist picture, and then kind of a brief description about him, plus what to expect during the sales appointment. And that part's I can do, no problem. It's the fact that occasionally we have a second appointment because of, they wanted us to think about it and come back, or we couldn't price it on the spot because something, XYZ, we need to do a load cap, whatever the reason. But I don't know how to prevent that second email, the same email going a second time.
Is there anything that you guys are doing to the job status or appointment status after you guys realize there's a need for a second appointment?
No, that's the only thing. I guess we could add a tag to prevent it from going again, but it seems like without adding some other step that someone has to remember to do, I haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, the workaround I was going to suggest was the tag. I think I need to know a little bit more about your case specifically and the campaign and audience setup, but I think we could find some sort of workaround. You probably would have to in terms of steps, it'd probably be the same thing. You would have to update the job status potentially. My recommendation, honestly, for now would be just do the tag. It's more than likely the simplest thing to do. If you just set it up as an exclusion criteria or have a dedicated campaign specifically for that case where you're just sending out emails to people who have that tag specifically, it should work.
Thank you.
For sure. Sarah, if that's it, I think I can move forward with this demo.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool.
Responding to job, JB.
So let me know when you guys can see my screen, and let me know if you guys can see the prototype right now. It should be a Figma screen. Does that look right, Sarah? Okay, cool. So really the first, just to introduce this, this is really ServiceTitan's first attempt at coming out with campaign templates. We'll be calling them quick start campaigns. But to quickly highlight what that's going to be looking like. For those who don't have a campaign set up at the current time that they move into marketing or enter marketing, they'll have this banner message up here, which will prompt them to explore the campaign templates. Also, when we opt to create a campaign, we'll also have the option to start with the template or start with the blank campaign. And when we opt to choose a template, we'll see our first 3 templates. So we'll have a here's what to expect campaign, which is basically an automated email informing the customers about what they can expect when the technician arrives. a thank you email, which is a post-job follow-up, and a rehash open estimate. So 2 things on our end. The goals here are really, 1, to drive the amount of automated emails going up. For those of you guys not privy to the information, a lot of inboxing providers want to see consistent automated throughput from you as an email sender. So part of what defines your email sending reputation and the deliverability of your emails is your own sending reputation. And the way you preserve and increase that reputation is by driving automated throughput. So we're trying to put these campaign templates out not only to just give you guys all the different ideas on where you can market and how, and all these different points of communication to build rapport with customers. But we also want you guys to be sending out these automated emails to protect your volume and ensure your deliverability. When we click in onto a template, we'll get a quick preview of the campaign, which gives us a quick description of what it is, what it features, and what's included within the campaign, as well as an overview of the actual drip, as well as a preview of the emails that we may want to take a look at for actually moving forward with the campaign. If it looks like something we can opt to use, we'll use the template. By the way, one quick caveat before we move any further, we will be making some changes to the campaign building UI relatively soon, and this is your first sneak peek at that. So upon first look, we'll have a pretty big portion of the campaign filled out. We'll prompt the users to review. So at this point is really when you're kind of just going through your content setup. We'll pre-build audiences for you and define them for the campaign. However, you can go through and edit and filter down, make them more specific, or use any existing campaigns that maybe you may prefer, or excuse me, audiences that you may prefer over ours. Once you set up the campaign details or the audience details, make sure everything is good. The next step within the campaign setup is the content. So we'll quickly review the content by clicking on the review. Take a look, make sure everything is as we expect it to be. Should anything need to be changed, we certainly can. And at that point, we're pretty much ready to launch our campaign. We'll schedule our campaign. We can choose between now or later. Let's say we want to launch it now. And at that point, we'll get the campaign launched. So in terms of these campaign templates, again, this is really us trying to provide more templates, let's say that, and provide and also templatize other portions of the campaign building process. So things like the actual campaign setup and the audiences, etc. I'll go ahead and pause here. I'm curious to know if this is something that you guys would think is useful. I'd also like to get your general feedback, your first reaction, and let us know if there's any specific campaign types or any specific content that you'd like to see as well. Any thoughts so far?
Wish Pam was on here. Jamie, would you use any of these audiences?
Feel like I already have most of them built, but it would have been very helpful at the beginning. And it still would be something that I would probably go in and look at and think, are theirs better than mine? And do I just have to tweak them a little bit?
Are ours better than yours? Probably not. You know your data, right? So trust yourself. There's always going to be something funky in a marketing audience, right? You're going to have a 1% deviation of something wrong. But think about that if you pulled that audience out somewhere else, then you would have way more of a deviation in your data. So yeah, you know, our audiences are built off of, this is what we could do, but then you would add in your layers based on your data that makes sense. Does that make sense? So our audience wouldn't be like, "Ooh, this is 100% correct." Like that's just not possible. All of your tenant accounts are different in data fields.
I think it'll help with your sales process too, to get people on, because it'll be so much less time dedicated to creating everything.
Yeah. Hey, Shauna, thanks for joining. Shauna,
Hey.
we've been talking all week. Shauna was the one that works at Trinity Water and Septic. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and she is working with location-based estimates. So I know we talked about that. Shauna, you missed our cool demo of quick start campaigns. And so we're kind of talking
Yeah, I'm
about,
gonna go back and watch the recording. I totally meant to come right at the start and then I got sidetracked.
I do know that you have some special cases going on with your data. So if you have questions, we have Ara and Alex here, and they are the product managers for email and SMS. So, you know, beside the one feedback that we're working through with tagging your location or your location to get the estimate in, what else are you looking for in the way that your business is set up in comparison to it's different. It's a different way to do,
Yeah.
you know, so that's, we're just learning what you need.
Tag is working, which is great. It would just be nice if it pulled like all open estimates, not just ones that were created on a job, right? Because it's an extra step, which is working, but if we forget to add that tag, or if we forget to take that tag off, for example, things like that, like it just leaves room for error. And I don't like leaving room for error, right? It's nice if it's just automated. So it'd be nice if it just pulled all open estimates. It doesn't matter if it was on a job or not, but otherwise, like as a workaround, like it is working.
I mean, yeah, tags are most definitely something that can be, it can be difficult to keep track of, right? Is it scalable? And so that's what you really want to say. But when you create the tag, you say, is it scalable? So is it something that is now part of a process, or is it something that is superfluous that needs to be created into a different process from a product perspective? And it does. So most definitely, we really appreciate you bringing it to our attention. We did know that locations was something that we do need to build for a little bit more and bring in the audience filter. And it makes sense because commercial, residential, and the way that we set up estimates has progressively changed in the trades. So yeah, and it keeps changing. So it makes sense. But I wanted to, you know, bring it up to, I wanted you to speak.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but the one thing I noticed about making an estimate on a job is that sometimes, like, so one perfect example is, sorry, I'll close my window. One perfect example, sorry, I can't find that happy medium. We do a lot of real estate inspections for plumbing and for septic work. So we have a business unit called inspections. So that's how we keep track of all that. But if the customer needs a quote, then it's usually a service or an install, like they either have to get a repair or a new install done. So when we're going to make an estimate on the job, we can't pull estimate templates from other business units because it's not like they're not under the inspection business unit, and we don't want them to be, because then we can't track them with install and service. So that's why another reason why we just go to make like a new estimate, because then we can pull the estimate templates from those business units. So that's another thing we found too, just a different way of doing it. That's another reason why we wouldn't make an estimate on a job, because then we have to start from scratch if we can't pull those estimate templates.
Good point. Yeah, it is something front of mind for us. We know there's a current gap with location-based estimates or non-job-based estimates right now. But thanks specifically for calling that out. Further validation that we kind of need to go and plug it in. Just for your own reference, this is something that's like an ongoing priority right now. We are looking to address it. Again, timeline, I'm a bit hesitant to give out right now just because it's not 100% clear, but it's front of mind for us. Expect a solution soon.
Okay, no, that's perfect. Thank you.
You don't have to raise your hand. You can just speak.
So I did come up with a question, believe it or not. Just kind of sitting here with the wheels turning. Is there anything in progress, or might it be possible to consider anything for email acquisition? you know, we might just have a customer name and email. We want to make some points of contact. Maybe don't want to put them in as a customer. Anything for that?
We, you can segue into this now.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So we're currently doing a discovery on something we're calling a lightweight CRM for Marketing Pro, where you would be able to basically manage, or the hope is to manage all your contacts in terms of customers or non-customers inside Marketing Pro and outside of kind of ServiceTitan's main CRM, and bring all the marketing related actions, preferences, and everything else to that portion of the CRM. So Ara actually, so it's funny, he just messaged me on the side and said, hey, should we use this leftover 10 minutes for CRM discovery, ask questions? And then it was like at the perfect time when it dropped.
Yeah. Sorry, Alex.
No, it's basically, there will be a concept of something called lists and things like that, where you will have non-customers be part of it, where it'll be like maybe email address and their names and basic information, and they will be treated differently than they're treated kind of like in ServiceTitan's main CRM, depending how you add them there. So, but Ara, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a couple questions for you, Christina. Are these people like people that have come into the funnel, like maybe through a landing, like on a form on a landing page somewhere? Like, how are you sourcing these customers specific, or these contacts specifically?
So we do trade shows. We go to the big home and garden shows in our area, and we also do just a couple other things where we have iPads and we have people sign up to enter our drawing. And like this, like a month ago, we have a list of 3,600 contacts, most of whom may not be in our customer base. We already ask them so many questions on the iPad, but we get their name, their email, their phone number, and then what services they're interested in. And so we either have to make the outbound calls and they may never answer our phone call. I would love to be able to plug those email addresses into something and be able to send them an email through Marketing Pro for, you know, whether they were interested in a new system or maintenance or IAQ or whatever, but just something that I'd be able to use with the templates that we already have built, the same type of, you know, audience builder, that kind of thing, some with it to be able to send those emails from Marketing Pro and have that ability to have that contact, make additional points of contact, and just be really front of mind with them.
Christina, how are you acquiring those prospects?
At shows. So we have an iPad, they sign up for the drawing and they enter in their information and indicate what services they're interested in.
Okay.
So currently they're signing up for an iPad, they hit submit, and then what is the funnel right now?
So it's an app. I'm not sure what it's called, but it just goes into a spreadsheet that we then download after the show. And I sit there and I sort through it and I color code and make different tabs on the spreadsheet for what these people are interested in, because it's not just put in your email address, sign up for our drawing. They're saying if they are interested in, you know, any number of services or what areas of services that we provide.
Got it. And if you imported them into ServiceTitan as a lead, it would create a customer record, which then you would have to filter out, right? But you could at this time enter them in as an excess, right? You might not have, I don't know, it depends on the number of information you have. So you could do it a couple of ways, right? I'm telling you a workaround. It's not going to be perfect, but this is going to be something that I would think of. So if I had a funnel, and you have the list, you can either use Zapier, you can use Airtable, you can use something to hook in grab that list and email them out of not maybe Marketing Pro. And I know you want to use the same thing. You can use the same language, right? You can just copy and paste your content that you have. Not perfect is a solution that you can email them that way. The other thing is if you wanted to, you could, and you had most of the information, you could load this into ServiceTitan with a specific tag and then email them from ServiceTitan and start their journey there. You
We
would
also
just need.
We don't collect their address just because it is so much more information to input. So that's what we start with, is a name, phone number, and email at
Got
this
it. So
point.
you'd have to have dummy data, and that probably is just creating more crappy data, and we don't want
I
crappy
think
data
my
in our
office
system.
manager would kill me.
Yeah, I really despise crappy data. I look at it all the time and I'm like, does that say my email at my com? And I was like, that doesn't even make sense. Why are you doing this? Like, you're costing yourself more money when you enter in fake addresses. So, we should be careful with that. But like I said, you can use Zapier at the meantime to like hook in and like send an email from your Excel spreadsheet. Not perfect, but it's definitely something that we are definitely thinking about. Like, how do we bring that lead in? How do we hold it? How do we funnel it so it doesn't mess up our data?
Yeah, Christina, one of the big issues in the email marketing world is acquiring actually email addresses at trade shows. People end up entering a lot of odd email addresses, wrong email addresses, fake email addresses, and that starts causing a lot of problems with your reputation and delivery. So one thing we usually suggest doing is once they enter it, just send a quick opt-in message so they can actually confirm it's them.
Sure.
It's their email address. So we'll have that on the future roadmap. We're going to have that functionality, especially if you start bringing in external email addresses that are not from your customers, but non-customers. To kind of protect your reputation, also it's for good hygiene of your email data. Yeah.
All right, we have about 6 minutes left. Are there any other questions that we have not answered or could answer about SMS or email? Bye, Dayla. Have a great one. Good seeing you. If there are no other questions, then I guess we can. Do you guys have anything, Alex and Ara?
Not from my end.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all for joining. We'll give you some time back. And yeah, we'll see you next week where we talk about direct mail with these two. See you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.